Hi all, welcome back to yet another super interesting biology live session on the wonderful and beautiful platform of Adhyalay. Alright, so today's topic is plastids. Today we will be talking about plastids which you get in plants, right? So our topic for today is plastids. Yes, so where do you find them? Do you find them in animal cell? Do you find them in animal cell? Big no. No. You don't find them in animal cell. So where do you find them? In plant cell and euglenoid. Now what are euglenoids? Euglenoids in chapter 2 biological classification we will be learning about protista. Okay. So in protista, under protista, you will see so many things: diatom, dinoflagellate, slime mold. One among them will also be what? Euglenoid. So euglenoids are protista. Okay, euglenoids are type of protista. So these euglenoids will also have plastids. All plant cell will have plastids. Other than that, euglenoids will also have plastid. What are euglenoid? Euglenoid are protista. Yes. Now, you can have several type of plastid depending on what they have. They can be chloroplast, they can be chromoplast, or they can be leucoplast. Got it? It can be chloroplast, it can be chromoplast, it can be leucoplast. Now the thing is, when is it chloroplast, when chromoplast, and when leucoplast? That you should be knowing, right? So first of all, see, let's say this is plastid, proplastid, before plastid. Now this plastid is going to get modified. This plastid is going to get modified into several other structure. If it starts having chlorophyll, you will call it as chloroplast. If it has some pigment but it does not have chlorophyll, it is giving some yellow color, red color, you will call it as chromoplast. If it does not have any pigments, leucoplast. Got it? So chloroplast having chlorophyll. If you don't have chlorophyll, you have some other pigment giving red color, yellow color, orange color, chromoplast. If there is no pigment, colorless, leucoplast. What is the function of leucoplast? Storage. What is the function? Storage. If it is storing protein, you will call it as proteinoplast or alluroplast. Okay. Proteinoplast or alluroplast. If it is storing oil, you will call it as elioplast. If the leucoplast is storing oil, you will call it as elioplast. If it is storing starch, you will call it as amyloplast. So if someone asks you the example, potato plant will have what? Amyloplast, peanut, elioplast, pulses, alluroplast, because pulses are rich in proteins, right? Chromoplast, you can equate it to colored plastids. Colored plastids. It does not have chlorophyll. Okay. Other than this, it has so many other pigments like carotenoid. For example, carotene, xanthophyll. These are the types of carotenoid. These are the types of carotenoid: keratin and xanthophyll. Keratin and xanthophyll. Okay. So keratin and xanthophyll will give yellow red color to the plant. All right. It gives yellow, orange, red color to the plant. They are present in flowers and fruits to give them color. Okay. The change in color of the fruit, for example, mango, raw mango. The raw mango will be what? Greenish in color. The raw mango has become ripened. It will become little yellowish in color. So how is this change happening? This change is happening by the chloroplast. Chloroplast is green in color. That chloroplast is changing into chromoplast. That is losing chlorophyll. Okay? And then you start getting the color red, yellow, all these. Okay? Chloroplast. What is chloroplast? It is a plastid. What is the color? Green. Why? Because of the pigment. Which pigment? Chlorophyll. Why this chlorophyll is important? Because it will help in photosynthesis. It will help in photosynthesis. Right? So let me draw the structure of chloroplast. First of all, where will you be getting it? You have any idea? Where will you be getting it? Any idea is there? No idea? Where will you be getting it? Where will you be getting it? On the leaf. Where will you be getting it? What is happening? You will get it on the leaf. Yes, that is why the leaf looks green. Yeah? Now, on the leaf, you will have plastids, right? Which plastids are we talking about? We are talking about chloroplast. We are talking about chloroplast. Cool? Now, tell me chloroplast and plastids. What are they? Are they cells or are they cell organelle? Who will tell me? It is cell organelle. Obviously, what is it? It's a cell organelle. That means it must be present in some cell. Yes or no? It is a cell organelle. So now let us see. Where is this cell organelle present in the leaf? So leaf is the organ. Leaf is the organ. It has tissues called as mesophyll tissues. Mesophyll tissues. So obviously mesophyll tissues, they are made up of cell. Which cells? Mesophyll cell. Mesophyll cell. Getting the connection here? Now in the mesophyll cell, inside we will get the cell organelle chloroplast. Chloroplast. Got it? Yes? So imagine this as your leaf. In the leaf, you have the mesophyll cell. Inside the mesophyll cell, you have the cell organelle chloroplast. Got it? Now we are going to see how this chloroplast is going to do photosynthesis. What is the structure? Where exactly chlorophyll is present? Okay. So this is your plastid. Which plastid? Chloroplast. Got it? Which is present in which cell? Which is present in mesophyll cell. This is your mesophyll cell. Okay? Inside the mesophyll cell, I have drawn chloroplast. Got it? Now, the chloroplast, plastid, inside Even this is what? Even this will be your double membrane structure. This will also be your double membrane structure. Now inside chloroplast, you are, look at it very carefully, going to have these kind of structures. Stacks of coin, one after the other. One after the other. जैसे coin होगा ना, एक के ऊपर एक, coins will be present, one over the other. Okay. All right. Now, each one will be called as thylakoid. Each one will be called as thylakoid, and together you will be calling it as grana. So what is grana? Grana is stack of thylakoid. Stack of thylakoid. Not only this, they are also connected. They are also connected. You know, how are they connected? What is this structure called as? Stroma lamellae. Stroma lamellae. It is like lamella, layer. That layer is connecting the thylakoids together. Okay, so that is lamellae. Now, from where this stroma term is coming? From where this stroma term is coming? The lamellae is present in the stroma, which means this part, the matrix of chloroplast, you will call it as what? Stroma. What is this? Stroma. What is this? Stroma. So in the stroma, you get lamellae. Lamella is singular. If I talk about more than one lamella, lamellae is plural, more than one. Got it? Stroma lamellae or stroma lamella. Now, we learnt about grana. We learnt about individual thylakoids. We learnt about stroma lamellae. Now, the answer to this question, that where do they have chlorophyll? We are here to learn that. Why chloroplast looks green? Because it has chlorophyll. Now, where exactly? Where exactly? On the membrane of thylakoid. Where exactly? On the membrane of thylakoid. On the membrane of thylakoid. Here you will have chlorophyll on the membrane of thylakoid. Got it? So if someone asks you, where do you get chlorophyll? In the chloroplast. You get it on the membrane of thylakoid. You get it on the membrane of thylakoid. So this is your outer membrane. This is inner membrane of chloroplast. Where is it present? It is present in the mesophyll cell of the leaf. Now see this cell organelle. Inside, the fluid part is called as stroma. In the fluid part, you have stacks of coin-like structure where each coin is called as thylakoid and the stack together is called as grana, and they are also connected. The structure which is connecting them is called as stroma lamella. That is your chloroplast. Now tell me, which type of ribosomes will you get here? It will be 70S ribosome. It will be 70S ribosome. Got it? Because even this follows endosymbiont theory. Is it not? So even this has 70S ribosome. Okay, so this is all about chloroplast and all the types of plastids. Chloroplast, chromoplast, leucoplast. Leucoplast, three types based on what they are storing. Elio, amylo, and aleuroplast. So the next structure we are discussing is peroxisome. So where is it found? It is found in plant cell as well as animal cell. Got it? It is found in both, right? So now let us see what they are. What is their function? Do they have one membrane or more than one membrane? Okay, just look at it. Look at it. Peroxisome has single membrane. It has what? Single membrane. Peroxisome are oxidative organelles. Oxidative organelles. What do you mean by this? Oxidative. It will cause oxidation. Oxidative. Let's say I have a molecule having, for example, water. I have water molecule. What do I have? I have water molecule. Now, I want to do oxidation of this water molecule. How will I be able to do it? Either by adding oxygen or by removing hydrogen. If I remove hydrogen, that is also oxidation or not? There are two ways. You can give oxygen. Not able to do it. No problem. Remove hydrogen. You can remove hydrogen. So, what is the function of peroxisome? Removing hydrogen. And when it removes hydrogen, it is actually doing oxidation. So, which kind of organelle it is? It is oxidative organelle. It is oxidative organelle. It can cause oxidation by removing hydrogen. Now, the next question arises. What it does with the hydrogen? The hydrogen which it is pulling, what it is doing with that hydrogen? That hydrogen, what it is doing? That hydrogen, it is transferring to O2 and it is making H2O2. You know, there is some reason why it is called as peroxisome, because it makes hydrogen peroxide. It makes hydrogen peroxide. So peroxisomes will help in what? Making hydrogen peroxide. How? By removing hydrogen from one compound and giving it to another compound and making it hydrogen peroxide. Got it? So peroxisome. What is the name of H2O2? Hydrogen peroxide. Hydrogen peroxide. Right? Hydrogen peroxide. So peroxisome is involved in the making and breaking of hydrogen peroxide. How? By taking out hydrogen, adding it to the oxygen and getting hydrogen peroxide. What's the function of peroxisome specifically in the plant? You know, we will be learning about C2 cycle in photosynthesis. Okay, there is a chapter photosynthesis, chapter number 13. So there we will learn C2 cycle, right? And C2 cycle name is actually CPM. CPM stands for chloroplast, peroxisome, mitochondria. CPM cycle. So can you see peroxisome here? So this peroxisome is involved in photosynthesis also. Which type of photosynthesis? C2 cycle. One function. Got it? Right? Now look at your body. We know that it is found in plant and animal. You know, it is present in the liver. And what does it do? It helps in detoxification of alcohol. है ना? Alcohol has hydrogen, right? So what will it do? It will remove the hydrogen and it will make it what? Not harmful. It will detoxify the alcohol. That is animal, in animal cells. Come back again to the plant. In plant cells, there are some peroxisome which are storing fats. In plant cell, there are some peroxisome which are storing fats. Those peroxisome which are storing fats, you call them glyoxysome. You call them glyoxysome. So glyoxysome you get in plants. What are they? Peroxisome. What they do? They store fats. Do they have anything else? Yes. Since they are storing fat, whenever time comes, they will break down this fat into sugar, because finally the energy which is provided to your body comes from the sugar, glucose, right? We store fats. Whenever you require the energy, the fat will be converted to sugar, and that sugar will again give you the energy. So glyoxysomes will have the enzyme. Since it is storing fat, so whenever it is required, the glyoxysome enzyme will break this fat and it will convert it into sugar. Got it? That is glyoxysome, which is nothing but peroxisome in the plants which have more fats, right? So after peroxisome, we are learning ribosomes. So ribosomes, we know it is the non-membrane bound structure which you get in prokaryote as well as eukaryote. You get them in prokaryote as well as eukaryote. In prokaryote, what is the type? 70S. In eukaryote, it is 80S. But. For mitochondria, do you remember? Mitochondria? In mammals, tell me, in mammals, mitochondria, which type of ribosomes? 55S you get, right? In other eukaryotes, you will get 70S, right? But for mammals, your body has mitochondria. Your mitochondria is 55S. Other than mitochondria and plastid, all the ribosomes in eukaryote, they are 80S. They are what? They are 80S. Now, how many units do you get in them? I have been telling you that they have two subunits. One is large, another one is small, right? One is large and another one is small. Yes? So prokaryotic ribosome is 70S, which is 50S plus 30S. Eukaryotic ribosome is 80S, which is 60S plus 40S. 60S plus 40S. Right? Now, in the cytoplasm, they keep floating. You know, whenever proteins have to be formed, then only they will join together. Then only they will join to the messenger RNA. You know this, right? DNA to mRNA. mRNA to protein. Now, when this mRNA, messenger RNA, this mRNA, messenger RNA. So this messenger RNA has information which protein should be formed. Now, who is going to read it? Ribosomes will come and it will help in the protein formation. So ribosomes help in transforming mRNA into protein, and the process by which mRNA becomes protein, you call it as translation. You know it, right? Translation. So the two subunits will be attached to the mRNA, right? Whenever translation has to be done with the help of iron. You know which iron? Magnesium. Magnesium ion will help in attaching the two subunits. Got it? Yes, 70S, 80S. How do they join? With the help of magnesium ion. What do? They help in protein synthesis. That is why they are called as protein factory. So what happens when mRNA has the information that we need to make this protein? Ribosomes will attach to the mRNA and it will help in protein synthesis. How will they get attached? By the magnesium ions. Okay? Solve this question. The question is, there is mRNA and there are several ribosomes attached to the single mRNA. What do you call this? You call it as, should I answer? Polyribosome. Or if you want to make it even more simpler, just say polysome. Okay, the entire process of translation we will be learning in class 12. For now, you should know that ribosome help in translation process by making the proteins. Okay? So that is all about ribosomes. Now, who will tell me how 70S is coming from 50 plus 30? It should give you 80, right? And how 60 plus 40 is giving you 80? It should actually give you 100, right? Anyone can answer that? You want to know? So let me tell you the information behind it. Okay. So ribosome, if you see it very carefully, start with 70S. If you understand one, you will understand the rest of it. You know what is S? S is sedimentation coefficient. S is sedimentation coefficient. Okay? There was a scientist, Swedberg. He gave this S unit. He gave this unit S. Yes, Hazem, that's right. Sedimentation coefficient given by Swedberg. Just now, if you remember, I had told you that ribosomes are present in cytoplasm. They float freely, है ना? Here you can have 50S, here you can have 30S. They join only and only they have to make proteins. Otherwise, वो individual separate रहते हैं. Right? Now, sedimentation coefficient, how is it related? I have taken 50S, I have taken 30S, and then I have taken together 50S plus 30S. I have a jar with me. Okay, आपके पास भी है? You can use it. So I have 3 jars. What I am doing? I am allowing 50S to settle down. What I am doing? I am allowing 30S to settle down. And then I am allowing the complete ribosome to settle down. Okay? So you know what S is? S is 10 to the power minus 13 seconds. You know what is 1S? 1S is equal to 10 to the power minus 13 seconds. Are you getting what I am saying? If I am saying 50S means how much time it is taking to settle down? 50 into 10 to the power minus 13 seconds. If I am taking it together, if I am taking the two subunits together, you know how much time it took? 70 into 10 to the power minus 13. And that is why you call it as 70s, because 10 to the power minus 13 is equal to s. So instead of 10 to the power minus 13, we write s. है ना? We give importance to the person who discovered its Swedberg sedimentation coefficient, and that is why we don't write these. Instead, we write s. Got it? So when individually you do it, the time which they take to settle down is different. When you combine them and do it, the time which they take to sediment is different. That is the concept behind 50s, 30s is equal to 70s, 60s, 40s is equal to 80s. So this is all about ribosomes. Got it? So I hope this class was very helpful for you, right? We understood today about plastids, about peroxisome, and about ribosomes. All right. So if it was helpful, please do subscribe and like the channel. All right. Thank you so much.